Sarabjit, where are you?
I'm in Calcutta.
How's the weather there? Good?
It's pretty good.
It is?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Catching yellow
Lucky
light.
you.
Yeah.
Lucky
Okay.
you. I am in comfortable 44.
Okay. Welcome to the Insta Roundtable, and this is a very special episode. And Insta Roundtable is special because this is the section where we talk about ideas and we bring on leaders to talk about ideas. So today we have a very special guest with us, and the agenda for today is creating a culture of continuous learning and innovation in the workplace. So today's agenda is creating a culture of continuous learning and innovation in the workplace. So before we start, a small thing about InstaHire, what we do. So we are a platform which allows companies to find talent with 10x more accuracy and in 10x less time compared to any other solutions in the market. So we work with companies like Google, Amazon, Walmart, Cisco, PayPal, a bunch of others, and like plus 10,000 plus companies and enterprises work with us to find the best talent out in the market. For today's session, we have Gautam Duggal, who is the Director of Global Talent Management and Learning at Mastercard. So over to you, Gautam, a brief introduction about yourself to our audience and welcome to our show. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Sarabjit, and welcome to all the audience. My name is Gautam. I'm currently working with Mastercard. I did not plan to start working in HR at any point in time when I was growing up. I'm a technologist who became a risk analyst, who became an HR person over the course of the last 18, 19 years. Really passionate about people practices as such. I'm still learning HR. So there are a lot of aspects of HR that I still am learning. And yeah, it's great to be here. I'm looking forward to the interaction.
Great. Welcome, Gautam, to our roundtable. And we'll start off our session today with a very small question, but it's a very, very important question. So I will take your view on this. So what is your view on the key components of a workplace culture that supports continuous innovation and learning? So as we go on, as we see COVID coming in and companies continuously doing innovations in technology, to reach out to a different level of people through different mediums, and everything is getting like revolutionized. Like you see a lot of blockchain, a lot of web3, a lot of chat messengers coming in, a lot of chat gpt came in. It was a big hit. So what are the key components of a workplace that supports this kind of continuous learning and innovation?
Well, to give you context, I joined Mastercard in January of 2020. So for a long time, my claim to fame was I've only been to office for 30 days because the world had shut down right after that. So I've literally lived through this entire chain where I think one very important aspect to look at is is promoting a growth mindset in the organization. And when I say that, it's primarily saying that everything is not going to work every single time. Okay, we'll have more misses than hits, and it is okay to be there, right? The moment your leadership communicates that and your people practices support that activity, automatically there is a buy-in of a learning culture, right? Because people are ready to fail fast, learn fast, move fast, right? Many businesses changed the way they operated. In the COVID world, many businesses stopped doing the traditional. I'm from learning, so traditional learning was completely out of the window. It was for the very first time you would do learning journeys virtually. Were they not happening before COVID? Oh, absolutely they were. But they were happening in pockets. Now the world is forced to do this sort of an activity. So I think that growth mindset is extremely important. And that comes from the top. That's a top-down approach. It can't be that middle management suddenly decides that we'll fail fast, learn fast, right? You got to have that buy-in. But you also have to have an emphasis on learning. And I remember there was a point in time when we were overwhelming each other with, hey, because you're sitting at home and working from home and your work from home became a 14-hour thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just do these learnings as well. Let's just do these coaching interventions as well. People were trying to really push themselves to not think about COVID. But then we reached a point where everybody was burning out, right? And we're like not able to even perform our current jobs and getting frustrated with that. So emphasis on learning and development means you give them what they want in piecemeal and in time. If it is too much or too little, we're missing the mark completely. If you're sending them a 7-pager email saying these are all the learnings available, not going to read it. If you just send me a nudge saying this is the learning available tomorrow, I have my plans for tomorrow. I'm not going to join, right? So piecemeal, well in advance, I prepare myself. Life will still happen to people. They will not come in. People have to be okay with it. Fail fast, learn fast, move.
Okay. So piecemeal is the key word here,
True.
which we want to target. Okay. And like, what have been your personal experiences that shaped your perspective on the importance of a learning culture in the workplace? As you told that you have been through this phase. So what are your so personal experiences which have been shaping your perspective on this?
Obviously, there is the element of experiencing things, right? Which may not work in a hybrid world, right? We have a lot of setups today where you're sitting somewhere, your team is sitting somewhere else, somebody's working from home because they have family to take care of, boss is probably out sitting in a different country. That time with each other is a rare commodity now, right? How do you make out time for one another through this virtual world? And it doesn't have to be always a 30-minute check-in. It could just be, let's chat over coffee. Because my water cooler moment is now gone, where I would go, speak to one of my friends and say, hey, Bhakti, I'm getting all these questions. I don't know what to think through. She gives me that couple of, nudges or advices, and then I go my own route. We got to build that in. That's completely missing. And in my personal opinion, in my experience, I would say that's where most of the learning happened, because I learned about the culture. I learned about how people react to things. In offline, very casual conversations is, I'm having tea time, you're having tea time. Let's just, talk through certain things in life.
Okay.
The other thing that really clicked in my personal experience has been finding mentors in the business, right? And the reason why I say mentors is they know about the business a lot more, right? They're experts in the field. For me to get that insight is more of a learning than to actually, sit down and do a course. I'm not saying don't do a course. I'm saying do a course, learn that skill. But when it comes to applying that skill and what all pitfalls will come into play, that's where this expertise will come in. That's where my mentors have helped me a lot. They've already said that you're going down the wrong path. This is not how it will work. Different industries, my mentors have told me different things. But I do keep, I have an official mentor at work. I have a few mentors in my personal life. And I listen to these 3-4 individuals and then finally make my own decision about, I've looked at all the aspects, from experience, from new ideas to where I am today. That has been working for me well.
Okay. From a talent acquisition perspective, like I have been speaking to a lot of HR heads, leaders, founders. They tell me that learning as a USP, has been one of the things. Like, say, example, courses. Say, I want to hire developers. I will give good courses, and they can avail these courses. They can upgrade themselves. Learn Java. Okay, and then come. So, what have been your perspective on this kind of things, like from a TA perspective, from an acquisition perspective?
So, from a TA perspective, I think we work with some of the very niche colleges to hire talent. There is obviously a very detailed talent acquisition process that we go through. There are obviously courses when you come in. There are targeted places where you go after. But one thing that we all realize as talent acquisition team is the engagement that you build, right? It's not just, it's a lot of times it's not just about the hard skill. They can learn, they can have the basic knowledge of the hard skill, they can learn more. But what's their intent of working at the organization? If the intent is just to gather knowledge quickly and do multiple things in the org, great, we want those kind of people. But if they're just coming in without any roadmap of what they will do with their career, that's probably not what we're looking after. So some of the folks that I talk to are very intelligent, like they know what their 2-3 year roadmap looks like, and they don't stick to one job in the organization. They switch multiple jobs, and that's what I've seen is when you switch multiple jobs, you learn a lot of new skills.
Understood. Okay. So one more question on this I have is, so do you believe that every leader or every founder, so there are a lot of founders also who will be listening to this, a lot of should ask themselves to foster a culture of learning or continuous learning in their team? And like what is one question you believe every leader should ask themselves to do that?
Do I have the right tool to offer learning?
Achha.
You're talking to an audience which has dropped WhatsApp. You're talking to an audience which is using Snapchat today. I'm sure a lot of people of my age don't even have Snapchat accounts. We probably have it because we want to snoop around on our kids, but we don't use that. Now from there, that audience is interacting with your learning assets which are sitting in multi-click environment. Not a great experience. We're missing the whole point. What they need is information just in time so that they can perform that job, and they learn over a period of time. Gone are those days when I would remember and go back to my books and look at charts. You talked about ChatGPT. I use it every day because that's my research assistant. I'm not going to ask one of my team members to do research for me. So that has changed. If any leader is looking at, am I fostering a learning culture, look at the basic element. Do we have the right tool for it? The moment you have the right tool, the tool will have an automatic pull for people to come back in. Just like what we do with Instagram. You're out 10 minutes after you're in. You're out, you're in. It's because you want to go back in. You have the right tool, people will automatically go in, see what they're supposed to do. If not, then you could have the best of universities offering their courses on your platform. People will not take it.
Okay. So great insights on this tool aspect. So what are the what do you think about the strategies which you found will be very attractive in promoting a learning is winning kind of a mindset among the employees? Any strategy which you want to share with our fellow recruiters, HR heads which are on the call and will be getting this video snippet?
Sure. One of the strategies that I saw one of my previous organization do, was actually have wide range of learning opportunities available, but then they would always leave it up to the learner to pick it up. But in the hindsight, most of the folks would pick up opportunities where they have to apply that hard skill, which is short-term project or going to another team and working, and maybe doing a side project apart from their regular work. The reason for that strategy is if you don't have the environment where people can go and practice, and I'm not talking about a sandbox version. What I'm saying is in real life, if you have somebody who's an influencer in life, greatly savvy on LinkedIn account, and your TA team is looking to, expand their presence on LinkedIn, why not utilize those people? They have great ideas. They have 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. Why are you not utilizing their ideas just because they don't sit in TA? You can get them in as consultants, use their time, use their ideas. That way, people can then switch from business to HR and HR back to business. That was one strategy that organization applied, where people will actually do short-term projects multiple times, and maybe become a part of an agile team and keep doing these short-term projects for 2-3 years, and then find their calling. I thought that was a very, very powerful setup. But it requires, like, again, top leadership buy-in, and it requires a lot of investment from people and leaders alike.
Okay, that's a very interesting take on like employee branding, as in like internal employee branding, utilizing their powers to
True.
like yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we move on to the next question. So very basic question: how do you balance the need for productivity with creating space for learning and innovation? So productivity and like learning. How do you maintain the balance?
It's tough. I am a victim of saying I do it, but I don't.
Okay.
Um, I leverage technology to do some of the work that is non-productive. Example, to read a research report and do an analysis on it, I'll probably use ChatGPT, right? If I have to write these, intro emails about different slides, probably using another tool for it. That helps me carve out time to actually have conversations with mentors, with leaders, with my peers to learn what they're doing, and pick up, reverse mentoring priorities as well. So leverage technology, because I only have 8 to 10 hours of work, 2 to 3 hours at family, and then the rest of it goes into just sleeping and doing other things. It's difficult to carve out that time, especially when you are doing multiple things. And nowadays, it's very difficult. I leverage technology wherever I can. Whatever time I save, it's a new learning. I could spend that time talking to you.
Understood. So you are utilizing, like reducing your time on different aspects and using technology on that.
For sure.
Okay. And so how do you ensure that learning opportunities are accessible and engaging for all employees? You have told about the tool, the right tool. So, but accessibility and getting them engaged is one thing. Like they have to go to that tool, right? So how do you go about that?
So accessibility, I think, comes with the fact that, am I giving them the right info at the right time, right? So obviously everybody has these newsletters, they have these platforms that they flash learning, they would nudge through the leadership, the regular game that we all have about L&D. I think what works best is the timing of the communication, the reinforcement of the communication, and at times who's saying it. And maybe it's a digress from your question, but a lot of times when just HR, people team, or if training leaders are talking about these are the programs, this is where you learn skills, it becomes an HR activity than a business activity, right? In my experience, I have leveraged, and I'm still leveraging a lot of business leaders to be my voice in the business, to say, this is a great program. I want you guys to leverage it. We have so many seats in this program. Let's make sure there is now a wait list on this. What's happening is the people who work for that leader, who's seen that leader perform and excel and be successful at certain things, there's already an innate buy-in in their mind. If this guy is saying something, it means this program is good. Right? Not that we're selling junk, but the program is good. I'm just getting another brand ambassador to talk about it. It automatically helps us buy into the program. So we get a larger number of registrations being done.
That's great.
If that doesn't, if this guy says this is not a good program, I know I'm not offering a good program. So what's the point of then, beating around the bush or saying, 100 seats gone waste, 30 seats gone waste. Your leader is telling you it's not a good program. It's probably let's invest time reflecting on how I can make it better. So I use a lot of leaders to be my brand ambassadors. Information, reiterate it. Becoming a part of larger communications. Don't just make it L&D newsletters. They work, very essential. But when the business sends out their quarterly reports, include your section in it. It's part of business activity to upskill and learn and grow. Why aren't we featuring stuff there? So that also becomes a very, very important stage for us.
Okay, understood. So, effect of leaders in promoting and fostering can be like paramount of we're saying that we follow this person, this leader, and then we should follow the courses like that. That is how we can
Exactly.
think about
Like,
it, right?
think about this.
Yeah.
If you have a team of
Hmm.
100 people and
Hmm.
they've seen you become from founder to CEO, taken a company from a few millions to $1 billion company today,
Hmm.
right? They've seen you getting successful already,
Hmm.
right? There's already a buy-in in their minds, and hence they're still working for you, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Leave the money aside, but they're still working for you for a reason, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Versus somebody in talent or HR saying, this is a great program, you should all leverage. The moment my leader says, I've seen this guy perform and become very successful,
Hmm.
I'm going to rely on him. Similar situation, if Akash Chopra, and nothing against him, if Akash Chopra tells me how to score a century versus a Sachin Tendulkar, I'm going to listen to Sachin Tendulkar, right? It's that element. Not that he doesn't know how to play cricket. Obviously, he plays much better cricket than me. But when I'm going for wisdom, I'm going to go after the master.
Okay. Okay. Understood. So we have the last question, and then we will go to the audience questions. Okay. So last question is: can we discuss a technology trend that you will think will significantly influence the way we approach learning and innovation, and in the next 5 years, for the next 5 years? So, like a trend which you will think will significantly influence the way we approach learning and innovation in the next 5 years.
I think we've heard this term for a while now, and I'm not talking about metaverse. I'm talking about on-the-go learning.
Okay.
It's gonna be that's gonna pick up for sure, and it has to be bite-sized. It has to be very short. Tell me exactly what I'm supposed to do. Don't give me all the frills.
Mhm.
And that's coming from the social aspect of TikTok reels and Instagram reels and all. You want 30-second info on what needs to be done, right? For certain things, you need more deliberation, you need more insights, especially if it's a hard skill, or if it's a power skill like influence, if it's leadership. You need that deeper insight. But if you're going to tell me how to write a code in 60 seconds, I would listen to that, right? On the go learning is definitely going to pick up. What elements will come into play? That only time will decide based on what innovation comes through. I also feel all of these, chatbots and generative AI, that's going to pick up. That's going to replace a lot of the writing material that we throw out to people. That is going to change the way people now interact. Because if anybody has used generative AI, they would know that it's an interaction. It's not just write a summary of so and so for me. It's an interaction. It can iterate. It could do multiple things. It could tell you. It could give feedback at times as well. It's not going to give you recommendations, but it's going to give you feedback. That will replace a lot of the elements that we do today when it comes to learning and development. I don't think I'll see, remember the time when we used to do these leadership programs and you'll get that hard book and you take it home and make notes?
Yes.
I think that era of dinosaur is gone. They'll not do it. They'll probably have a generative AI app or something which is installed, and then I talk to that and say, what's my strengths finder report? What's my disc report? How do I, review it? What's the summary of it? Because I want to use knowledge and go back to my job and apply it. And I don't have patience to read through a 20-page report anymore.
Okay. So Gautam, one question I have: do you think that, like, say, so at InstaHire we use an algorithm which gives a candidate jobs, or a recruiter the candidates based upon their past, how they have performed in the past, or how they have done in the past, or what are the preferences of the person? Okay. And according to that, what company he or she is working at, either recruiter or the candidate. So, like, we use a lot of data points to find out, and we curate the list. So suppose, can learning be also be done like that? Because the same course, okay,
it's being done. It is currently being done. So there are talent marketplaces which are AI enabled, and I can talk about Gloat because we're using that. It's public information. We have a Gloat YouTube video available of how Mastercard is using it.
Okay.
You create your own profile or persona, and you say these are the skills I'm good at, and it brings in information from LinkedIn or your CV. You say this is the role I want to go after. These are the skills I need to build. Now, based on the skills you need to build, and based on the skills you have, it's doing a couple of things. It's actually looking for projects for you that you could do in your free time, right?
Yeah.
It's looking for learning cards for you, and it's throwing learning at you, saying, hey, there is a live session happening on the stuff that you mentioned. There is a LinkedIn program available. There is a Wharton program available, all of this. Along with this, it's also doing mentoring matches, maybe on certain things that are not my strengths, but it's throwing it out there, saying, Gautam, you said you're not good at this particular element, maybe communications. But you know what? Sarabjit is. So do you want to take him as your mentor? And it's not level agnostic. I'm getting mentored by somebody who's just started working a year ago. She's in Dubai. She's mentoring me on how to understand cryptocurrency. I don't know that. What I've read is what I've read. I seriously don't know how cryptocurrency works, how these trading works. So she's mentoring me on it, level agnostic. But on the flip side, it can also tell people that I'm good at certain skills and I could be somebody's mentor. So those platforms are coming up very fast. And that's going to be the future, because eventually all the learning that I want to do is for my career growth, or is to do my job better, right? You should come back and tell me, this year you've grown from a 99% to a 99.5%.
Exactly. Yeah, focus on growth, yes. Yep. Yeah, similar to what we do, like we also, progression of the career of a person can be matched to what the person is trying to seek. So that same recommendation engine kind of works for. Yeah, so that is a very good thing, I suppose. Let's go to the next. Okay, so we have finished off of the questions, and now we will go for the audience Q&A. So I have curated some audience Q&A for you. So first question, which is Radhika. She asked that, how do you maintain your commitment to continuous learning and innovation in a fast-paced industry? So so you are from an industry which is quite moving very fast, like as you can see, like things are like happening every day, and it's very highly regulated, so to say.
True.
Like fast-paced plus regulated. So a lot of things you cannot do. But how do you like? Yeah. So over to you. The question: how do you maintain your own commitment to continuous learning?
So, like you said, it's a regulated environment. I make it a point that anything that comes with regulation learning attached to it, that's the first thing I'm doing in that day. Safety comes first. But from a professional or a personal standpoint, I have built this habit over a period of time. Has my LinkedIn profile been updated in the last 3 months with a new skill, with a new activity? If not, then I do get stressed about it. Is I'm not learning any new skill this year. Why is that? Am I not finding time for it? So I've created this hook for me, which then pushes me to find time and do certain learnings. It could be on a Friday evening, which is probably low. I don't want to go watch IPL. Maybe I just want to finish this course and learn something new. Maybe it's just reading a new book and getting some wisdom there. Maybe it's a quick 10-minute video on YouTube about certain things. But I do want to make sure that I'm pushing myself so that there is the hook of why haven't I updated something there? And that pushes me to do work today.
Understood. So, Radhika, I hope you got your answer. Now we move on to the next question, Samiksha. What is one piece of advice would you give to a new leader aiming to cultivate an innovative team in terms of learning and So,
wow. That's a tough one. Two things is you'll have to role model. And you're too new to role model, right? So identify somebody who's pretty good at people management and then role model them, mimic. We've seen mimicry artists. They do very well mimicry. You'll have to mimic a lot. The moment you mimic, it becomes like a muscle memory. Then in real life also, you'll do the same thing. You
Okay.
have to have agility and adaptability. That's the first thing I learned when I got my first team is you got to be very agile, you got to be very adaptable. Things
Mm-hmm.
that worked for me so far are not going to work in the future, right? I'll have to learn new things. I'll have to start listening to a lot of people. I'll have to adapt to a different way of working. It's not easy. People might think you're becoming slightly becoming arrogant. That's not it. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
don't let it bog you down. But role model somebody, have a bit of adaptability, and things will start falling into place. And it's not a 1 day journey; it's a 6 7 month long journey.
Okay, understood. So, Samisha, I got your answer. Now we come to the next question from Amit. Amit asks,
Wow.
can you share a personal experience where a failure or setback led to a significant learning opportunity?
Very recently,
Okay.
very recently.
Hmm.
Um, so I'll not go into the details, but the
Yes, sir.
the crux of the matter is that there is a lot of learning that came to me at the end of last year, where you know you perform certain activities in a certain way, and you think that's the way to do it, right? And
Hmm.
that's because you've done it in the past, you've seen success doing it that certain way,
Okay.
you think that's the best way to do it,
Okay.
right? And at times you don't check with
Hmm.
your partners, your team, your stakeholders, am I doing my
Yeah.
best possible version of this, or
Hmm.
is there something new that I could do?
Okay.
um, that came as a learning for me is there is a shorter way, smarter way, more efficient way of doing things.
Okay.
And that got me thinking into I need to be humble. While I have this experience, I still need to be very humble to learn newer, faster ways of doing things,
Hmm.
because the world is moving at a very fast pace, and I
Hmm.
need to keep catching up.
Okay.
Um, so that came as a for day one it was a shock. Day
Hmm.
two was let me settle down with it. Day three, I'm like, let's run with it and let's do things very differently now.
Okay. Great. So great answer, Gautam. I think Amit has got his key pointers from there. The last question I have is from Soham. Like, how do you balance the need for immediate results with the longer term benefits of fostering a culture of learning and innovation? How do you balance the need for immediate results with the longer term benefits? So short term versus long term of
Yeah,
a continuous learning culture. Yes.
it's a tough one. um it's a couple of things.
Mm.
One is, are my short-term goals aligned to the business short-term goals?
Okay.
If the answer is no, then I'm not gonna go after them,
Mm.
right? I have to, and we use this phrase a lot, prioritize what matters, and what
Mm.
matters is what matters to the business, right? For me, my stakeholder is the business team, right? If my short-term goal is no longer aligned, maybe it was aligned when we started the discussion, it was
Mm.
aligned a week ago. Today it is not aligned. I'm going to put a stop to it and say I'm not going to do this because our
Mm.
goalpost has changed, right? And I'm going to do something else. If you keep moving with the business goalpost, you'll keep doing those short-term wins, which automatically will become a long-term strategy of winning and learning culture. If I'm offering a training program which is of a technology which we're not using since last 2 years, but it was
Mm.
on my roadmap, I'm in a different planet, they're on a different planet.
Exactly.
We got to move with the business, and the
Mm.
best way to do this is have those check-ins with the business leaders to say, is this still relevant? If I
Mm.
don't do this today, what's going to break down? Rather than
Exactly.
doing this, can I do something else? Because a lot of times in our heads,
Mm.
um, we think that this is important, right? Maybe we've discussed that this is important, but today dynamics might have changed. The war in Russia, the meltdown in the European markets, the recession looming over US. Things are rapidly moving along.
Yes.
So what you got to also adapt to it. Maybe we are not doing those 300 people for the training. We are only doing 50, which is
Mm.
okay. Be okay with it, and move. Maybe 250 will come up next year.
Mm. Great. Okay. So we come to the end of the session, but I have one question for you, for the
Okay.
audience. so as a person who has seen a lot of companies grow up and like scale, say from millions to billions, what are your key pointers which you want to share with the fellow people, recruiters, founder, HR leaders who are there on the call and will listen to this recording? So what are the two three things which you want to share, like as per your experience?
I think from my experience, I would say that have have a very strong foundation and alignment to business goals when it comes
Okay.
to HR practices.
Mm.
Your HR practices should not always be changing.
Mm.
I worked at organizations where they're 200-year old. They
Mm.
have a certain set of practice that they started in 1980s, still relevant, still doing it. Then I worked at organizations which are under constant change, right?
Okay.
This year I'm doing something because somebody came in with a slide deck and said this is the best thing to do. Next year I'm doing something very different because OKRs are the new buzzwords, so I'm going to go for
Uh,
the buzzwords. If our strategy is embedded in what the business wants, it's going to be
mm.
long term. One, have the right people,
Mm.
go and have the right people in the right roles. At times we'll get the wrong people in the right roles. That's also okay. You'll have the ability to move them around. And I think one very, very important thing is, um, all the organizations that I've worked with, they've really valued, long-term commitment to the business. Um, I've not worked at any organization which was pretty happy to see people go in 6 months or a year, right? They were
Okay.
really sad. Obviously, people were going because of their career aspirations, but they
Mm-hmm.
were sad to let them go. Even after 10 years or 12 years, they would sad for let them going because over the years you build this association and now you're leaving.
Mm.
It's a loss for the organization as well. So think long term, and when people stick around, value that loyalty with them. Maybe it's not valued through always money and promotions. It's also valued through opportunities of representing the company, employee value propositions, becoming the face for certain things in the organization. Um, I think that is very essential. So big organizations that I've worked with, they do this very well, and that's why they've been thriving for more than 100 years now.
Okay. Great. So lovely insights, Gautam, and our team loved it, and our
Thank
folks
you.
also loved it. We will share this video for everyone to see, so that they also get the insights, the analytics which you have shared in our call. And thank you for taking your time out and coming for this inside roundtable. It was great
Thank
having
you.
you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Thank
And
you.
you all have a great evening ahead.
Sure.
Hope to see you all soon.
Sure. Thank you, Gautam. Take care. Have fun. Bye bye.